Alright guys, what is up? Hope you're having a beautiful day because I am having a beautiful day. I want to welcome you guys to the very first episode of Ask Fraser. I just want to thank Joe Booth for that idea. Very, very grateful, mate. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for the question. Really appreciate that. Got a good response from you guys and I'm very appreciated for that. So I'm gonna try and give you the best answers that I possibly can. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into the first question. Do you have some tips for starting the first cutting diet? My tips for you is to go slow and steady. Understand that it is a marathon, not a sprint. You need to set yourself up for 10 weeks instead of 2 weeks. You know, you need to really grasp the concept that it's about sustainability instead of fast results. Lose no more than 1 pound per week, aim for that. If you're losing more than that, then you're just doing it too aggressively. So the last tip for you is just to get started. Just like, don't overthink it. Just go do. If you fuck it up, guess what? You're gonna learn from it. It's gonna be a great experience either way. Swag boy. Bruh, how do I get as lean as you? Help me out with some cutting tips and tricks. There's no trick. Consistently dropping your body fat. That's how you get lean. That's how you get shredded. That's it. And in that way, going slow and steady, you're gonna preserve muscle mass, and that is what makes you look shredded. Which another thing is you've actually got to have some muscle mass to begin with. Do you possess any other talents or do you excel at any particular sports? As a kid, I don't really play sports anymore, but as a kid, I did play basketball competitively and football a little bit, but that was when I was very, very young. Football, you guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about. AFL, it's Australian rules football. It's one of the most stupidest sports you'll ever play in your life. You can solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute if you want to call that a talent. How to get lean without experiencing strength loss or excessive hunger. How aggressive should your caloric deficit be? You need to go slow and steady. That's just as simple as that. Basically, the more aggressive your cut is, the more likely you are to tap into muscle mass. My recommendation is for you to aim to be in a deficit of no more than 500 calories. That's the way to get lean. You need to be slow and steady. Chip away at body fat, and that's how you get there. It's not, you know, you're not gonna wake up a week later after your diet and be fucking shredded, mate. You need to put in the work. You need to put in the weeks. You gotta stop thinking about the results. You gotta start thinking about the process, thinking about the day ins and the day outs and the waking up and just attacking this little bit just here, right? There's an analogy that Will Smith said. It's about building a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You set out to lay this one brick perfectly, and then you keep doing that every day, and then eventually you have a wall. I have a problem with my legs and calves. They are so skinny. Should I train them twice per week? How to get lean like me? Answered that pretty much in the other questions. I'm gonna make another video about the foods that I eat, my kind of meal plan. I don't really follow a meal plan, but I do have a structured set of foods that I usually eat from 90 to 95% of the time. So I'll go into that in another video. For the lagging body parts, if you do have lagging body parts, yes, it would be a good idea to train them twice per week. If you are trying to gain muscle mass and you're in a caloric surplus, then you need to be aiming for progressive overload. If you're not increasing the weight or increasing the sets or reps from week to week, then you're overtraining or you're not training hard enough. So it's not so much quantity, it's more quality. If you're training as hard as you possibly can and you're really fucking killing yourself, then you're gonna be making progress week to week, and maybe training twice might be overkill. But if you can manage twice per week and you're actually seriously training hard, you need to be honest with yourself. If you're not training hard, you're not gonna get results. It's as simple as that. Then you can maybe do 2 times per week, but the main thing is progressive overload. Tip for calves is to just hit them hard. Hit them a lot of reps. Reasoning is, if you look at bicyclists, they have some fucking ridiculous calves, right? And what do? They don't use a ton of weight. They're just always on it all the time. Just pressure. And it's such a different variation of resistance, because sometimes they're going uphill, sometimes very hard, sometimes they're going downhill. It's very on and off. So if you take that, you need to understand that you need to hit it from a whole different perspective and hit it hard and a lot of reps. Sometimes doing lightweight, doing 30 plus reps, and sometimes doing low reps, doing heavy ass weight. Kaz Jizz Boy, how should I start working out? Build it up or start training hard? How many times per week? I would recommend starting to build it up. This is all gonna be subjective to your athletic ability. If you have been, you know, exercising or playing sports for a certain number of years, maybe you could do 4 or 5 times per week. But if you've never actually stepped into the gym, then I would recommend doing 3 times per week and focusing on the main lift. So you're focusing on your deadlift, squat, bench press, barbell row, and over overhead press. I'd recommend, if you've never ever been to the gym, I'd recommend checking out the 5x5 program or starting strength. These programs are going to, if you actually do these to a T and you do them properly, you're gonna make a ridiculous amount of gains within that first 8 weeks of training. If you're eating properly, eating in a caloric surplus, you're gonna be fucking amazed. Like, you're gonna come off just 1 week of doing it and be like, damn, son. Strength is gonna go from 0 to 100 really quick, as opposed to if you're just gonna do a bodybuilding split, your body's not gonna react as well. So I'd recommend doing that, making the most of your newbie gains. If you're new, capitalize on those newbie gains, dude. They're fucking insane. Mr. Niles Official asked, what's your body fat percentage? I got this question a lot. Yeah, I'm probably around 3 to 4%. Nah, jokes. I'm probably around like 10%. 9-10%. Boost Luca has some problems with his knees. Can't squat. He wants to know some mobility drills and some movements to warm up. I'd recommend, I don't know how severely bad your knees are, but I'd recommend warming up on the leg extensions, just really lightweight, doing about 20 reps, not taking anything to failure, just warming up the knees. And then taking as long as you really need, warming up until you can go into squats comfortably. Boom, there's some particular movements that I can't really do because of my knees. There's a specific hack squat at my gym that's just not very comfortable. It's not a very comfortable position. It's not so much hack squatting that I can't do, it's mainly that one, so I stay away from that. If you like, squats aren't the only thing you can do to build legs. Like, you can do leg press, lunges, all this kind of stuff. So try and find something that's comfortable on your particular body, and it will be a much more enjoyable process for you. I recommend checking out lunges. It means you won't have to overload the weight so much because you're doing individual legs. That might be good on your knees. Thumbs a can 0.00. Can't go to the gym, he's now doing exams. He wants to know how he can broaden his chest. Push-ups, my brother. Volume training versus heavy lifting. They both have their purpose. Heavy lifting is for ultimate growth, and volume training would be more for muscle fullness. Where do you get your inspiration from? I get it from within, right? I get it from 100% within. I don't really look anywhere else for inspiration. I used to do that, and I feel like that's quite a fleeting emotion. I feel like if you're getting started, but eventually you really need to pull it from within. If you're so reliant on an external source of inspiration or motivation, then you'll be stuck looking for inspiration for more time than you're actually spending on yourself getting better, becoming your own inspiration. I pull it from within. Over time, my inspiration was to look a certain way, was to get a better body. That's still there, but it's changed now. There's an element of motivating others, which I know I just contradicted the fuck out of myself. I do believe there is a place for motivation, but if it becomes your only source is external, then you're done for. You can't always be looking outside of yourself saying, I want that. You need to really focus on yourself and build yourself up. Become your own source of inspiration. That's what I want for you guys. Do you believe that hypertrophy or strength training is best for maximum gains on a bulk? So by hypertrophy, I'm guessing you mean like 8 to 12 rep range. But hypertrophy can happen at a number of different rep ranges. Like, it could happen at 6, could happen at anything. It's mainly about progressive overload. Overall, nothing beats blunt force trauma for overall muscle growth. By that, I mean heavy freaking weights. But the thing is, when you do that, you can't, it's very hard to purely focus on the actual muscles if you're just going absolutely ham. So that's when a different element of hypertrophy and actually focusing in on what muscles you're training is very important as well. Did I go to the gym when I first started or just use body weight? I just used body weight. I just did push-ups, I ran around the block, I did sit-ups, that's about it. Push-ups, sit-ups, jumping squats, toe jumps, calf raises, all that kind of stuff, just all purely body weight. The thing is, I didn't actually start going to the gym until I was running one day. But I looked across the road and I saw this ginormous thing. It was like a big flashing sign that said something like, sweat is fat drying or something. It was something cheesy like that. And then I was curious, I was really curious. I went in, found out it was a gym had just opened up, so I joined that. About a month later, the rest is history. Wells, what's your favorite body part to train and why? Currently, my favorite body part to train is back at the moment, purely because there's so much variation, as well as it's my weak point and I am a sucker for the underdog. Trying to put on a lot of weight but cut at the same time, what should I do? I can't seem to get rid of the stomach fat at all. I'd recommend doing one at a time. If you're trying to put on a lot of weight and lose fat at the same time, do you see how that's a big contradiction? You need to do one at a time. I'd recommend, if you do think you're a little bit puffy, drop the weight first, get cut, get lean, and then start lean bulking and staying. Then you'll keep the abs and keep all cuts throughout the bulk. Whereas if you're starting to bulk now and you're a little bit pudgy, you're never gonna have it. You're never gonna lose that body fat. What I want you to comprehend is you're never gonna turn body fat into muscle. Unless you're on steroids, it's not gonna happen. So don't attempt to do that. I'd recommend doing one at a time, focusing on a building period and a cutting period. How many times a week do you work out besides workout? What do you like to do for fun? So when I'm cutting, I work out usually 6 to 7 times per week. I'll only take a day off when I really feel I need one. In a bulking period, a muscle building phase, I would work out around 4 to 6 times. If I do feel like that's just giving me leeway to, no matter what, if I feel like my body needs rest, I will take a rest day. I don't like to, it's just like, it's part of the game. I'd prefer to go to the gym every single day, but progress doesn't come from that. I'm a big sucker for cinematography. I like to film, as I'm doing right now. I like to go to movies. Pretty much, I just find the whole entire film industry very interesting. That was a good question. I like that. What's your body fat percentage? I'd like to know that. God damn, I already said it. It's like 10%. Yeah, it's around 10%. Joe Booth, my boy, how you doing? How long did it take for you to roughly see a transformation in your body? It roughly took around 3 to 4 weeks of bodyweight training. Every single day, I think I did push-ups. I did as many push-ups as I can before I went to bed. Then I did as many sit-ups as I could before I went to bed. I woke up, I did as many push-ups as I could before I ate breakfast. And then I did as many sit-ups as I could before I ate breakfast. So I did that for 3 to 4 weeks. I was also running around the block, etc., playing basketball. That's when I started seeing the results, around 3 to 4 weeks. And then from that point, I became pretty fucking addicted. Hey, what's my goal, lol? Any beginner's advice you got? Not sure what that means. I'm not gonna tell you what your goal is. You need to figure that one out. Beginner's advice is, as I said before, if you're a complete newbie, I'd recommend checking out the 5x5 program or starting strength. You'll notice a ridiculous amount of gains if you do that properly. 8 weeks, you will grow like a motherfucker, as well as get very strong. Do you take steroids? Because I can't tell whether you're skinny or not. That's really rude. That's really rude, you know? What does that even mean, you know? I'm half natty, bruh. When on a cut, how long do you do cardio for? JMad Aesthetics, thanks for the question, mate. Don't do a lot of cardio. My cardio sessions never go for over 30 minutes. Most of the time I usually like to do high intensity interval training, which means it only goes for about 5 to 10 minutes. I just haven't really ever needed to do cardio to lose the fat. It just hasn't been a necessity, basically because I do lean bulk, so I'm already at a pretty low stage and my calories are so on fleek that I'm losing weight at like 2,500 calories. I don't really need to do cardio, there's no point. Zach asks, is there any merit to training 4 days on, 4 days off? Zach, I wouldn't say so. I really wouldn't. 4 days on, 4 days off. If you take 4 days off, you're gonna get back, you're gonna be all rusty. It's not gonna be the most optimal programming. So if you could make progress off that, but doing 4 days in a row, I think it would be more, I think that's what you mean though. You might mean something else. You might mean 4 days, some, I don't know, not sure. So I'd recommend doing still 4 days per week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, take a break in between Wednesday. So you give your body a little rest between sessions. Depending on what you want, I know you personally, you're a beast. You're fucking already so strong. You're already so strong, but I'm not sure exactly what your goals are. But if you're looking to build strength, I'd recommend doing something like back and biceps Monday, chest and triceps Tuesday, legs Thursday, and shoulders and arms on Friday. It's gonna give you the whole entire body in the whole week, and you're also getting 3 days off within the week. That's if you can commit to that. If you can't commit to that, I'd recommend doing a push-pull legs. Push on Monday, so that's chest, shoulders, and triceps, all push movements, and then rest Tuesday, Wednesday, do back and biceps, rest Thursday, and on Friday do legs, and then rest the weekend. It's a more constructive programming, and you're gonna make more progress than if you just combined everything and did it in a short amount of time. Your body's gonna be overly stressed by the 4th workout. How long did it take to perfect your stomach vacuuming, and what are your thoughts on supplements? So the stomach vacuum, I actually started doing that before I even went to the gym, which was really random, I know. Basically, I saw a video about it and I thought, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I started giving it a go. And I couldn't do it at first, sucked at it, absolutely sucked at it. I was about 16. I was on holidays when I started, so I had a lot of free time, basically. So I was doing it about 10 times a day. I would do it for, I'd breathe it in, hold it for 10 seconds. I did that about 5 times. So I do that 10 times a day. So all up, I was doing it 50 times per day. I did that for like the entire summer break. So like 8 weeks, not even kidding. And by the end of that, I was really, really good at it. And it's just stayed around ever since. I do it after pretty much every workout, just because it looks cool. I don't really have to exercise it anymore. I just do it and it stays around pretty much. As for supplements, they are good if you have the budget for them. The supplements that I would recommend is, in order, creatine, protein powder, fish oil, pre-workout, multivitamin. Right? The multivitamin, not very necessary. You should be eating vegetables, so you will be getting your macronutrients. The pre-workout, you don't really need it. It's not a necessity. It's just to give you that extra boost for your workouts. The fish oil, your joints are gonna need that. If you're not having fish, I'd definitely recommend that one. Protein powder, it's just a supplement. You don't need protein powder to put on muscle. It's not a necessity. It's not gonna make you blow up overnight. And the creatine, I'd recommend first and foremost because it is scientifically proven to increase your strength, even if it is by like 5%, and it costs like nothing. This is the micronized creatine, so it's a little bit more expensive. It is 114 servings, and it cost me 25 bucks, 25 Australian dollars. So in America, it's probably gonna be like 17 bucks. The big ones that aren't micronized, then they cost like $10 a kilo. So it's gonna last you like 6 months. All of those, as the name implies, are just supplements. If you don't have a on point diet and you're not really prioritizing real food, then there's no point in having the supplements. Kill. Alright guys, that is the end of the Q&A. I hope I answered all your questions to your liking. If you do have any queries about what I went over just then, ask it below. I will be doing more episodes of these, so be sure to ask your question below or over on my Instagram, send me a DM. I'll keep a stockload of questions. I'll try and ask about 10 to 15 each time I do one of these. Again, I want to thank you guys for your questions, and I'm just going to wrap the video up here. Hope you enjoyed watching because I enjoyed making, and I will catch you in the next one later.